So sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes people are dating and they date for a while and then eventually they break up. They decide to go their separate ways. So when you break up with someone, it means the relationship ends. So when you break up, often they'll say, who broke it off? And that means, did Joe break it off or did Jill? Who ended the relationship? Sometimes people will say it was mutual. That means both people decided they didn't want to be together anymore. But it's sometimes sad. Sometimes you'll know someone who's dating someone and you like that person. And then a month later, they'll say, oh, we decided to break up, so we're no longer together. But that's how a relationship would end. To go your separate ways means the same thing. It simply means the relationship wasn't working, so you decided to go your separate ways. Now, this doesn't have to only be used for romantic relationships. If two people own a business together, they can decide to go their separate ways at one point if they don't want to be business partners anymore. To have it out. So sometimes people argue, and this is a phrase that is very common when we talk about people who are arguing. They're going to have it out. So someone might say this: my brother keeps borrowing my car, and when he brings it back, the gas tank is empty. I'm going to have it out with him. That means you're going to say to your brother, stop doing that. It's really annoying. Hopefully you don't yell like this guy here. But when you have it out, it means something in a relationship is bothering you and you've decided you're going to talk to the person about it. Maybe your boss keeps giving you extra hours and keeps making you work Saturday. You might say, I'm going to have it out with my boss. Not a good move, by the way. You probably shouldn't argue with your boss. But you might say, in the past tense, you might say, I had it out with a colleague last week and it just didn't end well. So when you have it out, it means you argue with someone. To make up. So in a romantic relationship, this means that after a fight, you decide that you want to apologize, or the other person decides they want to apologize, and you kind of talk it through. I'm trying to define make up without saying make up, but when you make up with someone, it means that you were in a relationship, you had a fight, and now the fight is over and you've decided you still want to be in a relationship. So usually you apologize to each other and then continue on. To settle down. So when you settle down, it usually means it's the point in your life where you're going to start a family. Okay. You might get married and start a family. In North America, often people just move in together. So I'm not sure around the world how things work. Generally, people get married and start having kids. But in Canada, you can also just move in together and start having kids. And we usually refer to this as to settle down. So someone might say, hey, is your cousin still going out to the clubs every night and dancing till 2 a.m? And you might say, no, he met someone and he's decided to settle down and they're getting married in a month and they're planning to start a family. So when you settle down in life, it means you're going to stop doing all the things that single people usually do. And you're going to start doing the things that old people like me do. You're going to get married, have kids, buy a minivan. All of that would be indicating that you are deciding to settle down. To hit it off. When you hit it off with someone, it means that you get along. It means that you are happy to be with them. It means that you enjoy their company. So it looks like these guys have hit it off. I actually hope this old guy doesn't fall out of the wheelbarrow. That looks a little bit dangerous, but who knows? But let's say Jen said, we're going to go visit some of my family who you've never met before. I could say, I hope I hit it off with them. That means I hope that they're nice people and I enjoy hanging out with them and talking with them. The opposite isn't nice. Sometimes you don't hit it off with someone. When you don't hit it off with someone, it can be a little bit boring, annoying, kind of hard to say, but It's nice when you hit it off with someone. I think in the chat during these live lessons, everyone tends to hit it off well with the other people. They get along and it's really nice. To keep in touch. Did I do this one already? No, I didn't. Oh, to hear from, I did. Yes, to keep in touch means to regularly call someone or regularly email them or text them. So it's good to keep in touch with people if they live far away. It's good to keep in touch with your parents if they don't live in the same town as you. So it's just good to keep in touch. You can use this to talk about like seeing someone in person as well. But generally when we say, hey, do you keep in touch with your friends from university? You can say, oh no, we've kind of lost touch. We don't keep in touch anymore, which is the next one, to lose touch. Sometimes when someone moves far away, their life is busy, your life is busy, and you lose touch with them. So it's not the same as growing apart, because you probably still enjoy talking to that person. It's just that, yeah, the best example I can give is if you have a friend who moves to another time zone, and then the time difference makes it hard to talk to each other, sometimes you start to lose touch. And then when that person comes back to your country, you have an opportunity to get together with them, but sometimes you lose touch. To put up with, yes, sometimes you just have to put up with someone. Maybe your brother or sister is annoying, but they're your brother or sister. You have to love them and enjoy their company, so you put up with them. Maybe you have a boss who watches everything you do, but you really need that job, so you might just have to put up with it until you can find a new job. So when you put up with someone, it means that you endure their behavior. That's kind of complex. I guess they don't make you happy. They don't make you sad. You just have to live with them. I'm not describing this one well, but I think the boss example is good. If your boss is mean, you might have to put up with your boss for a few more months until you can get a different job to move on. So sometimes relationships end, sometimes jobs end, and sometimes you just need to move on. This is probably a bad picture because it doesn't mean to actually move somewhere. But let's say emotionally, I was very, very sad because a friend of mine doesn't talk to me anymore. Eventually, I have to stop being sad. I have to stop thinking about it, and I need to move on. So when you move on, it means you're having negative emotions, but you need to get past them. You need to start having positive emotions to get on. We do not use this phrase in Canada. At least I don't. I think this is very British. We say to get along. I think they say to get on. It means to enjoy people. Like Joe gets on with Fred quite well. Okay. Here we would say Joe gets along with Fred quite well. So I think this is very British. So I threw it in there for those of you that like the more British version of everything. To look up to, I think I've covered this in previous lessons. It means that you admire someone, you respect someone, usually someone who's older than you. Often a son will look up to his dad, or you might be younger and there's older people at work that you look up to. It means you respect them, you admire them, etc., etc. To catch up, when you don't see someone for a long time, when you get together, you tell each other what has happened in your life. You catch up. So if I go and see a friend who I haven't seen for 2 months, we'll talk and we'll catch up. It means he'll tell me what happened in his life and I'll tell him what happened in my life. We will basically, there's a certain amount of information that we don't know about each other, and we will explain that until we are to current day. We are caught up. To fit in. It is really nice to fit in. When you are young and let's say you go to a new school, you hope that you will fit in. When you fit in, it means that people like you like them, and you enjoy the place you are at. When you start a new job, it's important to fit in. Hopefully everyone at the new job likes you, and hopefully you like them. And then if someone said, how's the new job going? Are you fitting in? You could say, oh, it's really nice. I fit in right from day one. Everyone liked me and I liked everyone else. To patch things up, this is very similar to making up, but this doesn't have to be in a romantic relationship. You can patch things up with someone where the relationship has gone wrong. So if you've grown apart, if you've lost touch, if you've broken up with someone, if you don't get along with someone anymore, you can patch things up. It means you want to be a friend again. You want to have a good relationship. Let's say two brothers argue and then they don't talk for a year. One brother might call the other brother and say, hey, I think we need to patch things up. I'm sorry for what I said. And then hopefully there's an exchange of apologies. And then the relationship can begin anew. As brothers, they now get along. Maybe a couple has broken up and they've decided to patch things up. It means they're now together.